Hi Dobby, welcome back to my channel. We are here to finish out the BOYZ newest mini album, Be Awake. We only have Diamond Life left, but we are also doing the studio CHOOM version of Roar and the dance practice for it. So I'm really excited to finish out the album with Diamond Life. Again, with the lyric videos, I know lyric videos can be wrong. It's just what I have right now. And I'd rather do the lyric videos than have just like the audio and not see translations or literally anything. So just no, I understand. If it gets it wrong, it gets it wrong. Please do not comment about the lyric videos in my comment section. Please, 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 and thank you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and finish this out with Diamond Life. Wow. This is like a heavy hitting closer. Ooh. Ooh. I like that section. Wait, I like that section of Kevin's. Before we get into this build up, hold on. Oh, I like that. Oh. The beginning of that chorus reminded me of something. I don't know what it is. They've talked a lot about the moon in this album with their lyrics. I realized that. Ooh. Oh. That section reminds me of something. Oh. Oh, ad-libs. Oh, the beginning of that, what they do with the notes on the end, and I was literally just thinking about it with Eric. They've done a lot of the like kind of drop-offs on a couple of their ending notes, like what Sungyeon just did with I think it's the Naol part, where like it kind of dips down. But Eric does it at the beginning of his rap, so it's not even just the vocalist. That. Ready to low. Wow. Oh my god, the ad-lib. Oh. That was the ad libs were absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. But stylistically with this song, I really like the choices they made with the just kind of like drop off that they do with some of those notes. But it's like it's a run down the scale to end a phrase or whatever. And it wasn't just the vocalists that they were making do that. Like the rappers did it as well, which I thought was really, really cool. This is a very punchy closer, which I kind of enjoyed. I feel like a lot of the times closers are usually like ballads or like R&B pieces, something at a very slower pace, but like hit the ground running from the very beginning of it. And that's how they finished finished the album. But I feel like with how powerful Roar is, I feel like this is a nice counterpart to it. But that has been the mini album Be Awake. Really, really enjoyed this album. I always enjoy the BOYZ B-sides. I think the past, at least for sure last year, but maybe the past 2 years, I don't remember if I did an album reaction to the BOYZ my first year on the channel. But definitely last year, and if I would have heard, dang, I don't even remember what came out in 2021. Was Maverick and Throw Ride was 2021. I think I did album reactions to those. I genuinely don't remember. I might have. But I want to say anytime I've heard the BOYZ for a B-side, they have been in both my favorite title tracks and my favorite B-sides for the end of the year. So I always love the BOYZ's B-sides. And this album was absolutely no different, especially when you put it in the hands of people like Kinsey and Deej, which I literally wholeheartedly respect and love their artistic abilities in terms of production and lyricism 100%. Next, we have the Roar Studio CHOOM. Now, with Studio CHOOM, it is a hit or miss. Sometimes they allow me to do Studio CHOOM performances. Sometimes they don't go through. It really just depends. So hopefully you guys will be able to see this. If not, I'll have to cut it out. But I will put it on Patreon for you guys to see. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the BOYZ's Roar Studio CHOOM. Now I'm going to do more pausing with the dance practice because I can see it in its entirety to like point out things I like. This one's just to like appreciate more of the performance aspect of it. I'm assuming they're doing 2 weeks of promotions. Oh, I love that. And it looks so clean every stage. Ooh. Oh, it's so good. Ooh! Literally, when Kevin came out the first time in that MV, I was blown away, jaw to the floor, whatever. It was so good. And then they get to this section, and Ji Chungmin, he owns this entire section of this choreo. Absolutely. Let's go, Kevin! Woohoo! Like, literally, I don't know what Chungmin does with his hips, but, oh. I still love the sectioning. I've always enjoyed that about the BOYZ. Oh, and I'll talk more about that on the dance practice, but literally the fact that Sonu delays all of that to get there at the last moment makes it look so much better. Woohoo! This choreo is so good. And it's so the boys. Oh, this build into this Eric Younghoon section. That section in the MV is to die for. The Channing and Jacob, the editing in it is beautiful. Woohoo! Devin! I have to see this time again. Woohoo! Oh, I'm so excited to get into this choreo. You guys have no idea. But literally, I was talking to my sister because my sister has also been a big fan of the boys since Maverick. She watched Kingdom with me, so she got to know them a little bit there. But really, like, jumped full-fledged into the boys with Maverick. But she was like, the boys have a very specific style of choreo that you don't really see from other groups in their generation. It's just very, very like the boys. And we both agreed, like, collectively as a group, we think the boys are the best dancers in their generation. Because you literally, I feel like if people don't come in or don't know anything about the boys coming in, you cannot tell who's on the dance line. Like, can you tell the main dancers? For sure. But like in regards to the level of dance ability they all have, they're really like, there's no gap, if that makes sense. Like, they're all that good at dancing. It's absolutely crazy. And I feel like you have to be that good at dancing for the kind of choreography that Mihawk demands of them. And speaking of their choreography, I feel like they weren't always like this. I don't know when Mihawk jumped onto like the IST staff and became the performance director for the boys, but I feel like around the Steeler, their choreo started to change and they started to like level things up, especially on the performance side. I don't know in regards to like when Road to Kingdom happened and when the Steeler happened, if that was before or after, or maybe even like Reveal may have been it, but like those, I don't know, whichever song came first, I feel like you started to see a change there in their choreography. And then, of course, Road to Kingdom, and then everything here on after. The choreography has just been absolutely fantastic. Not that it wasn't for their, like, early day stuff, but I feel like there's such a maturity to it now. And there's also a very nice, like, contemporary side to it. I feel like you see a lot of more hip-hop in songs and choreo and songs nowadays, which the boys still have that. Maverick was very like hip hop heavy, but they also have like a very contemporary side to it, especially on those like that bridge build with Younghoon. It's really, really nice to see because I feel like I don't see that a lot from other groups. So But really, really excited to get into this dance practice. I always love the BOYZ dance practices so much. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the Roar dance practice Thicks version. I'm so excited for this. Ooh, let's go. I literally didn't even talk about the synchronization, but it's flawless. Whoa. A lot of dynamics in this first section. Before we get into this ripple, the boys play to the beat so well, and like props to Mihawk for doing all that. But there are times, especially at the beginning of this, there's a snap sound that they played to in these first couple of 8 counts. And I will speak more about this later on, but I feel like the boys do a really good job of knowing when to play with the beats and know when to play with the melody. And I think that's one of the reasons their dynamics work so well in their choreo. And you can have those more contemporary sides while also playing to the faster, more hard-hitting type of moves in this first section. But there's a snap in the instrumental that like you may not even really like hear a whole lot, but you can do what they're currently doing and play to those beats and play to those snaps, and those, it's usually like a bass or a snare or something. Here it just so happens to be the snaps, but sometimes there are those hidden elements in instrumentals that you don't really notice until you see choreo, and then they play to those beats and you're like, oh my goodness, I never realized that this was actually in the song, because it draws them out. And I think that's one of the things I love about it. Also showcases the boys' musicality very, very well. But you have to have such good sense of natural rhythm in order to do this well. And I think the boys executed so beautifully. And again, I want to applaud Mihawk, because I want to say it was Mihawk and maybe a couple of other choreographers, but I know he heads their performance side for the boys. But I want to applaud them so much, because I feel like they always bring the best out of the boys. And that's why people think they're all such fantastic dancers, because they truly are. You literally are seeing their best sides here. And so when people are like, who's in the dance line? You're just like, the boys are one singular dance line. But wow, I love the beginning of this so much. This ripple, I'm going to talk more about it when we see it. But you can hear those snaps. That first head movement. It just makes it poppier. Oh. And you know the reason why this is so good? Because there's one thing to start a ripple and end a ripple with the first and last person, and everybody else go in between at the correct time whenever. There's another thing to make sure the spatial awareness and the timing is so perfect that literally from first person to second person to third person to fourth person, and so on, is getting the exact same amount of time to execute a move. It looks so clean, and the crazy thing about it is it looks like that for every performance. It's not like I saw this one performance one time and it was absolutely perfect. It's literally like that every single time. And I talked more about their sense of rhythm at the beginning, and the reason the reason that is executed so well is because they have a great sense of rhythm. Oh. And it's sections like that where they play more to the melody than they do those harder bass beats. Before we get into this, which I'm going to talk about this a lot because this is my favorite part of the choreo. I feel like the boys, if this makes sense, kind of like breathe into each one of their movements. There's never like I go from up here to swinging my arms down here. It's like I'm here, I breathe in and then go into. But here's the thing, it's like they all breathe as a team. And that's one of the reasons their synchronization is so good, because they all do the exact same thing. It's not like they all have the exact same style. They don't. But those little bitty differences, they're like we're either all going to go from here or whatever, or we're going to take a breath and go in. And it matches so well. And it also kind of brings life into the choreo as well. This is so good. Watch it. When they swing, and then come back up. It makes the move bigger. There's so many things. Get it, Kevin. Oh God. The first time I saw this, I died. Like, you can go back to the MV reaction. It was so good. Kevin. The second move, Chongmin. I don't know what Chongmin does with his hips. The isolate, it adds an extra bit of element to it. It's so good. They just eat this choreo up. See, like, even this there's like a small snare section. And you wouldn't probably realize it unless you're watching the choreo. Oh! I love that part of Jacob's a whole lot. And this is one of the reasons I like the sectioning for the boys so much, is because we get to see not closer, but more isolated members dance. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why you can't tell who the dancers are or who's on the dance line, who's not on the dance line. Because when you get to those little sections and you would think, oh, I'm about to point out their mistakes or their weaknesses, you're like, where are the weaknesses? So it's so crazy. But I love the puppeteering effect with Jacob in his little small section. But I'm going to move it back so I can see Eric and Juhanyan's part again. That was a nice turn from Eric. Yeah, like, it's just so good. Oh. Also meant to mention this. There's another thing that they do, instead of playing with the lyrics, they play with the melody, they play with the lyrics. Just like that section of Eric's. He has a more, his flow kind of speeds up, and because you're not spacing out the words as much as you would, with that pickup, they do more elements to a choreo. Watch Eric's section when he comes in. Oh. And that part of Sonu is, like, I feel like I said this a little bit earlier in the studio CHOOM. With that section, he waits till the last minute to do that. And I think because he waits till the last minute, he gets into place so in such a perfect time. But with that, if you are not on beat or time that perfectly, you may be late and then it looks off. Like, it's really, really easy to mess that up. And you can tell there are sometimes when he gets in, he's like trying to rush getting down. That his like front foot like has to stop him, but like that kind of trust and stuff to make sure like His weight is distributed evenly and everything. It just looks so good. Especially with the kind of move it is, coming into it with a slide, and not overly anticipating it makes it look better. Even those lines on the bigger moves are so good. Woohoo! Get it, guys, my dancers. Oh. This build. And I think one of the reasons I like it so much is they add elements to it. It's not just like they're building on to one another. They'll do like arm movements and then come in. It just like it molds into the piece a whole lot better. Oh, I feel like there's so many things I want to talk about before we get into this Channy section. Another thing that I love about the boys is you can kind of see, I don't know if they make them do like when they do dance classes, if they have any like contemporary aspects to it, not contemporary, but like ballet technicals training aspects to it. But I feel like you can, I don't know if Mihawk or whoever is choreographing their specific choreos for them makes them do this, but you can see the technical ballet elements in it. If you watch their feet, they'll be in like first position or fourth position or what, like they never forget about their feet. And not only that just like helps with balance and everything, especially with all the like faster paced steps that they're doing, along with they have a couple of turns and things in this. Actually, something they're about to just do like a half turn to the back when Sunu is at point, and like just the feet and everything. That's one of the things I noticed. They all have, like, look at Sunu's feet. Look here. Look at all of them. Especially like because you can see it straight on. It's gonna be harder to see from the guys on my sides. But like look at their feet. Look at the positioning. Definitely a ballet-esque element to it. And it just like helps hold balance and everything. But it looks good. It looks good. The synchronization's amazing. We're about to watch all of this again. Oh, Sanu. Oh gosh. And talking and see those elements where they're like reaching up to the sky or reaching out. And I talked a little bit about it earlier. Hands, the detailing is so important because if your wrists aren't straight, like if you don't think about from like forearm into hand into wrist into hand into fingertip, those lines can be broken. Another thing is about their chest. They make sure to pull their chest back and everything, and it elongates these lines, and they're so pretty, especially with how like hard hitting and experimental the instrumental is. It's really, really cool to see this type of choreo from them. Oh, like, all of this is just so good. I just want to rewind it and keep talking about it. The floor work. Like, this whole section is just absolutely excellent. Those passes into the pushback. Oh, wait. Watch Kevin on this release. His chest is back, his head is back, and literally he's like in the back, not in the back, but like he's in the second row of dancers. And there are two people in front of him, and I'm still like, I see Kevin. And it's those little things. It's like where you think you would be hidden and you would see weaknesses. You don't. You actually see other people's strength. It's just like, it's crazy. Watch Kevin on this section when they release. Like, you see how much he goes back. It just looks so good. Especially with how dramatic that section is. Chongmin. Oh, like, I know Chongmin is the point on that section, and like usually my eyes go to him, but really, like, literally any of them could take my attention off. We talked about, look at the Hyunjae's feet at the beginning. Everybody else, like, they just know what they're doing. They think about those little elements. They don't have, there's no pigeon toes, there's no, like, it turnouts, everything so beautiful. It's excellent. The boys, everybody. Like, literally everybody is killing this section. Like, even Hyunjae there at the very end made sure he got back in fourth position? Fifth position? Fourth? Fifth? I don't know. One of those two. It's been a minute since I've taken ballet. But like, they think about those things. They think about those things. It's so good. The boys, everybody, like, you can't help but love them. They're just so absolutely fantastic at dancing that anytime I get to sit down and react to their choreographies, I eat it up. I love it so much, so much. And my sister was like, I need you to watch this immediately, because we usually watch their choreography videos together. Or not together, but like, we watch Maverick a whole lot together because we love that dance practice so much. And literally, I will just go back and watch the BOYZ dance practices because they're just so enjoyable to watch. And we were both dancers for a long time. I was a dancer for over 10 years. She was a dancer for over 15 years. So like, when we see something to appreciate, we're gonna appreciate it. So, but she's been waiting for me to react to this so we can watch it together. But I'm glad I was finally able to sit down and do that today. But with that being said, be on the lookout for my next The BOYZ reaction. Thank you guys for tuning in, love and support this channel, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, Dobby.